right, now take two, take two, take two. So I was how's everybody doing? Happy Saturday afternoon, 5:30 on Saturday afternoon. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody had a good weekend so far, and hope you had a great week. So I'm laughing because I was recording, and I don't know what happened. Then all of a sudden the phone went to photos or something. I don't know what happened. So I could only laugh, and I had gotten through the whole intro, and started speaking on the first comment, and I don't know, something happened to the phone because I'm using the phone. So, anyways, happy Saturday afternoon. Um, I'm just going through a quick comment the other day. This is LeaderCast episode 3. How do you deal with anxiety? So I put that on Facebook the other day and welcomed some comments. So I got about 3 comments or 4 comments that came in, and let me tell you something. You know, anxiety is a real thing. It's a real thing. It's something that I think we all deal with, and especially in these times, um, it's something that we all definitely deal with. Whether it's work, or trying to get back to work, um, not knowing um, where the next paycheck is coming from for some people. When this thing is going to be over for some people, so that creates a form of anxiety, and constant worry that we all go through. So it's a real thing to me, and it's a real thing to so many. So that's the reason why I'm discussing this. That's the reason why I brought this up. And I'm gonna go through a couple of comments and share some stuff that my brothers um, shared with me. So the first comment was my good buddy of mine, Matthew Spencer. We served in Germany together, and Matthew wrote, "This is something that he fights with on the daily. My mind goes 150 miles an hour all day, thinking of stuff I need to do, things my wife needs me to do, thinking about anything and everything all the time. I'll wake myself up in the middle of the night thinking about things that I wanted or wasn't able to accomplish that day. Man, it's a daily thing in my life." Matt, I know, you're a combat veteran, um, a former drill sergeant, and you've done and seen a lot that creates that stress. So it causes us almost to get stuck in that mindset. I know when I went to a therapist um, for a while, I went to the VA to West Point. Um, I was told one day, and I never forget this, that because we're soldiers and we or were soldiers, um, that we get stuck in we're like stuck at 110 miles an hour. We're stuck in that speed, almost like in that gear, and we have to teach ourselves to get out of that, to get out of that gear by trying to decompress some way, somehow, get away from it mentally, physically, get ourselves into a quiet place. I know that's what he told me, and I know that's the only way we get a chance to deal with things. And I know you get involved in your projects at home, doing things for the wifey, for the home, and that's a beautiful thing. And we all have, our own ways of dealing with it. So hats off to you, my brother, and salute. Um, my boy Lass, he responded to Matt's comment, and he said, "Indeed," he said, as soon as the eyes open, my mind is racing. The incessant narration never stops." And it's tough because I get exactly what he's saying. I'm gonna read Lass's comment as well. Um, Last put, the first thing I do is get quiet and say thank you out loud. Um, then I write down everything I'm thankful for, followed by some short physical exercises and some reading. Then I'm out the door. I need my vitamin D. I understand you completely, last, because I don't write things down. I guess maybe I should, but I don't. And a lot of people take up journaling, and they take up, they write down the things because then they have something to remind themselves of, what's important, what's not important, I guess. And the physical, exercise, everybody has their ways. And I know I'm the same way. I'm like you, Laz. I got to do some form of exercise. I got to do something. I'm not, a physical trainer, or I'm not, the most physically fit person, or I'm not by far. But that's my therapy. So I go outside and I get some time, whether it's sunny or not. But that vitamin D is definitely necessary. So I get it. Thank you, Lass. And my boy Ron Simmons, I served with him in Fort Benning, Georgia. He wrote, My therapist had me to start journaling. It's a habit I'm trying to work on. I used to get quiet and to get angry with myself. I also take a mood medication in the evening time, multiple breathing techniques that I have learned in therapy, is what he wrote. Thank you, Ron. And I understand. Again, you journal, and you had said the breathing techniques, that was key. That's one of the main things that I learned myself, is breathing is key, and how to breathe when you're feeling anxious. You know when it's coming on. You know when you're feeling anxious. You know when you just don't feel right. Your hands might be shaky for no reason, or your mind might be racing. And I tell you what, that's the same thing that I learned to do, was to breathe. That belly technique, where they tell you to put your hand on your belly, and they have you breathe in through your nose, till your belly's completely full, and then you blow out, with your like lips puckered, and go until it's completely, like your belly's completely empty, like a balloon. And then you do that about 5 to 10 times, and it works. It works. It helps me to calm down a lot. So there's so many different ways, that we can all get through these anxious moments, that we get through these anxious times. Journaling, exercise, getting involved in something. I had a conversation with my daughter, and I told my daughter, we tend to forget our own problems when we help others, right? And I know during this time, it's very, very hard to help others. It's very hard to try to go and do something for someone. But that's the one way that we tend to forget ourselves and our problems, is when we do for others or take our minds off of ourselves. There's so many different ways. I'm one. I deal with it. I've dealt with it. Years ago, I used to have, panic attacks and anxiety attacks. And it was tough because I didn't know where it was coming from. I didn't know why. And I'll never forget, and I'll share a story with y'all. I had a panic attack. I ended up in the emergency room at the Bronx VA. I'll never forget that. And one of the nurses, I'll never forget, I was laying in the bed in the emergency room. Nurse came over, she held my hand, and she said, she didn't know me from a hole in the wall. She just told me that I need to learn to talk because I keep too many things in. And I will never forget that, because that was a problem of mine. Was, and again, forgive me because I'm talking from my standpoint, my experience. As a soldier, a lot of times, you don't want to, you get stuck in that suck it up and drive on mentality. We got to be tough. We got to look tough. We can't say we're hurting. And I used to do that a lot. I used to keep everything in, and then you'll become almost like a full cup. You know what I'm saying? A cup is too full and it's full to the edge, and then you shake it. You could put the slightest little bit in there and it'll make it overflow. That's exactly what I felt like, and that's exactly what I was going through. And when that woman held my hand and told me that, and I looked at her in the eyes, that meant a lot to me, and I took it to heart and I utilized it. And I never seen that lady again. So that was one thing that helped me. I just try to get my mind off things. I just try to get quiet myself. I get away from the things that make me anxious. I don't put myself in situations that make me anxious. So maybe these little things that you hear in these stories can help you. Journaling, exercise, breathing for sure. Research it. Research it, because there's a lot of times where when you don't know where it comes from, you almost become afraid of it. So you gotta know your enemy. If anxiety is your enemy, you gotta know your enemy. You know what I'm saying? And you can fight against it that way. But that's it. I wish you all well. Again, we could fight this. We could beat this. Anxiety is a real thing, and we can all get through it. There's a way. There's always a way. Speak to someone. Talk to a friend. Talk to a professional. Get some help if you need to get help if it gets that bad. Get into those quiet places. Do that exercise. Meditate. Breathe. And just take care of yourself. That's it. Just take care of yourself. I know we're all going through some form of anxiety right now with what's going on out in the world, but we'll get through. We could beat this. You can beat this. Know that you can. Let's take care of one another. Let's look out for one another always. Like this video, Share it. Thank you for taking the time to watch it. Share it with your buddies, and hope this helped. So thank you all. Have a good night. Have a good remainder of your Saturday. Hope you have a great Sunday, and I hope you have a great week to come. Thanks, y'all. Appreciate you.